Hello and welcome to week 4 of season 3 for the Virtual Racing School video tutorial series. This week we're at a brand new circuit for iRacing, and a highly anticipated one at that. I am of course talking about the legendary Imola circuit in Italy. Now I've switched back to the Audi R8 for this week's tutorial in the Blancpain GT3 series. Since it's a real challenge around here with the requirement to heavily use curbs, which is an area that typically the Audi struggles with. Over the years, Imola has been reduced in speed with various chicanes, but it still retains some brilliant corners, such as the highly challenging Aqua Minerali. The lap I've set is on qualifying fuel in default weather as per usual. Initially I struggled to find a flow and a rhythm with the circuit, but as time went on it started coming together and it was pretty much awesome, hooking up the sectors nicely. As ever, I will play the lap through from start to finish before then reviewing and going into the analysis. And across the line, so I was quite happy with that lap. Obviously there is more time in it, but I've only had about an hour and a half of practice, and my first laps actually at the circuit on iRacing were today. So okay, so as we obviously approach the start-finish line, you want to be keeping a tight line to that wall. And then bringing it back over again, not too close because you want to keep the car out wide as you enter Tamburello. Now I don't have a braking reference normally, but if we look here, we pretty much just brake at the access road here, but also the where the track sort of straightens out after turning left. It's kind of just before then as well, which is sort of how I picture it. So it's a pretty heavy braking zone. Obviously we're going very, very fast at this point, so we want to bring the speed down, and you kind of have to treat this whole sequence like Ascari at Monza, in the sense that your sort of entry into this first section, first corner, is going to dictate and determine your line through the whole sequence, and obviously if you get your entry wrong here, it's going to throw you your whole line off through the entire sequence. So you obviously need to bring the speed down into third gear, just kind of trailing off the brakes entirely as I just clip this curb. You want to get quite close to these black and yellow sausage curbs. They can be really aggressive, and they can cause suspension damage, and they will definitely throw you wide. And then obviously get close to them again as you head right. You're quite sort of tentative and measured with your throttle application at this point, and then as the kind of track opens up, you want to be hard on the throttle again. With pretty much every lap, even my best laps, I'm having a sort of confidence lift through the exits. It's better to do that than to overcommit and have to get out of it when you're over here somewhere. So that was nice. I've now committed to full throttle, letting the car run out wide, and then into the Villeneuve chicane. You've got to be really, really careful on the brakes into this one, because the braking required is quite minimal, probably only like 40%, because you don't want to bring the car's speed down too much. You want to enter with a lot of speed, and as a result you can induce oversteer quite often. So you need to be really careful with your steering input as you enter this corner here, so as to not induce oversteer. So you're kind of anticipating oversteer, and that was quite nice. Again, you want to make sure that you use all of the curb that you can get away with. Excuse me, and bring the car over to the left as far as you can, so that you can get a good run and line through the next turn. Pretty much as ever, when you're going over curbs in the Audi, your throttle inputs need to be really sort of reserved. So I do actually sort of run really wide. You pretty much need to take advantage of this exit curb here to give you a fast run down to the hairpin. And I've done that. I've actually just overdone it ever so slightly, and so I picked up a little bit of gravel just on the exit, but got away with it. And then into the Tosa hairpin. I think I'm braking at this access road again, just after actually. But notice how I am already turning left before I start braking, so that's quite important. So I'm turning left ever so slightly. Now I'm turning hard left. Now I'm on the brakes. So you need to pretty much aim for the apex as you're braking, because if you brake and then try and turn in here, you're going to have to slow the car so much to get back to the apex. The apex here is quite cambered, so again with cambered corners you need to pretty much aim for aim to have an early apex, and then you get it stopped, get it turned. Keep it really nice and tight here, and then as soon as the circuit starts opening up, you can get hard on the power. So full power now, and notice as I get to full power, I'm opening the steering up so as to avoid wheel spin. Probably could have actually got on the power a fraction earlier there, but it was still quite nice. So up to Pirattela now. Now I do use a reference this time. I brake just before the 50, and you have to kind of, the car likes to understeer on entry here, so you have to trail brake as you turn in. So turning in now, and it's not as extensive as say Watkins or some of the circuits with really long corners, but I am holding the brakes here just to get the car in. I did actually brake a little bit conservatively, a little bit early on this particular lap, so that's why I'm off the brakes a bit sooner than normal. But I do compensate this time by having a really nice tight apex, and I'm on the power super early, and I make up some of the time that I've lost, well pretty much all the time that I've lost on the entry, getting a really fast exit. Now the car likes to get a bit oversteery as you get on the power exiting this corner as the circuit kind of goes downhill, especially if you allow yourself to run onto this exit curb. So you need to again anticipate some oversteer and have that steering open and ready to catch a slide. bring the car back over to the left for the downhill, and then this is the awesome I can never say it, Aqua Minerali. There we go. And it's a 4th gear corner on the entry. Now you carry lots of speed into the first section, and you aim to take some of the curb on the right. But interestingly, this is the important part. You have to treat it like 2 corners, with a miniature straight in the middle. So the first braking zone is very small. There we go. Just to bring the speed down a little bit, and then you get back on the power. So I'm on the power now, not full power, just to take advantage of the track that's available to me. So there's a little bit of time to be found by getting back on the power, and then hard on the brakes again. Not too hard because you're turning, but the car is compressing, so you can actually brake a reasonable amount, despite the fact that you're turning in. And then just kind of being patient, waiting for the car to come back to you, waiting. This is all about timing, really. This is pretty much the exact place that you want to be. Again, quite close to these aggressive curbs. And then you will get penalised if you allow the car to run over this AstroTurf on the exit. So you need to try and keep a tight line on the exit, which I have done. That's about right. So just kind of straddle the red and white curb there. Keeping the car really straight as you go up the hill to avoid getting out of shape. And then into the chicane, Variante Alta. Now, I am always surprised by how late I can brake into the chicane. I kind of had to force myself to brake later. And it's because it's uphill, really, well, ever so slightly. But it's pretty much about 70 meters where you're hard on the brakes. One of the heaviest braking zones on the circuit. Bringing the car down nicely in a straight line, and then choosing your. Now I had a couple of stabs there as I turned in. There. Now I've committed to turning in, which is fine. You do need to really aggressively use these curbs. But notice in the Audi, you need to be really, really careful. So I'm fully on the curb here, but notice how my pedals are doing nothing at this point. So just really being aggressive with my positioning, but really tentative with my throttle and steering application. So slightly less curb on the exit here. And then as the car lands, we'll just see that again. So pretty much no pedal inputs, just a slight bit of trail braking just to bring the speed down if you're obviously going a little bit too fast. And then as the car lands and settles, you have to wait for it to settle. You gradually feed in the power because you're accelerating from quite slow speed. You don't want to abuse the traction control. Straighten the car up, and you can use lots of this exit curb here. iRacing will allow you to really use this exit curb without penalising you. So that's pretty much almost the entire car there is on the AstroTurf. It's slightly limited grip-wise, but as long as you're keeping the car nice and straight, you can take advantage of it. So now it's really important as you approach Ravazza to keep the car left as you approach the downhill, which will allow you to get through the right-hander without lifting. So there we go, flat out through the right-hander, and then braking at about 100 meters there. Pretty heavy braking zone. You need to obviously hold the brakes for a long time to bring the speed right down. And then as you kind of approach the entry, you want to start turning in a little bit earlier than you'd expect to. And that's because there's pretty much no straight after. So you want to carry nice amounts of speed into the corner, turn in nice and early, take advantage a little bit of that first curb. Probably could have used a little bit more there actually. And then short, straight, hard on the power, let the car run out wide again onto the concrete. That is as wide as you can possibly take it. Yeah, that's pretty risky. But if you want a good lap, that's where you have to be. Now, I probably got on the brakes a little bit too early here because I knew it was a pretty decent lap and I didn't want to throw it away. So you probably don't want to brake quite so early. And you can see there, I had to compensate. So I'm on the brakes, now I'm back on the throttle again, just to kind of catch up to where I should be. So off the throttle and then back on. So I'm using the curb here. Really, really, really critical to get a good exit here because you've got a massively long straight. So just setting up for a really tight or straight line the exit. So that's quite nice. On the power early. Didn't have to use much of this AstroTurf at all. So that was quite a nice exit. And then keeping the car right. Steering inputs to a minimum. Again, as you go past this wall here, you obviously want to keep the car quite nice and tight and across the line. So yeah, that was a 1 minute 42.372. So for those who may be unaware, you can find all setups, replays and telemetry for your own use and analysis on virtualracingschool.com, where you can also book one-on-one tuition with top drivers from Commander Sim Sports. Okay, so good luck for this week and thanks for watching.